Ladies and gentlemen, we're expecting some moderate turbulence.
Please remain seated and enjoy the show. Hello.
And welcome to
Moderate Turbulence.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm Adele.
Hello, Adele. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Well, it's been a while since we podcast. We live together, so I see her every day. Also, what do we have?
Haven't seen each other in so long. Since last year. Haha. No, it's kidding. Haha. That joke is done. But we are drinking champagne because it is January 2nd, 2024. So Happy New Year, everyone watching.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So if we get a little tipsy during this podcast, we're not sorry.
Blame the champagne. As we're sort of celebrating New Year's a bit today because I was actually... Oh.
Roxy! We can leave that in. But if you heard that, Roxy didn't want to come down when we started podcasting. So we left her upstairs and that was clearly a mistake. And now she's barking.
Yeah.
So.
And take two. Everyone remembers Roxy?
She was upset because she was alone upstairs.
Yeah. She secretly likes to podcast with us. So welcome back, Roxy. So yes, as we were saying, I was away for New Year's. I was actually in London, England. So I got to celebrate New Year's 7 hours before Adele, but then I woke up at 7 a.m. London time so that I could call in and celebrate New Year's with Adele and a few other friends that were all gathering.
Yeah, including friend of the podcast, Alberto, Mia. So
yeah,
we had a good night of fun and games, just a chill evening, and yeah, Jeremy was in our thoughts. In memoriam, as someone said, and we're like, no, that's not what you think it means. so yeah, fun evening. We love playing board games with our friends. We actually had a couple gatherings where we were able to play games this holiday season. So we had lots of fun. Just makes you want to have like a monthly game night of fun because
with close friends. Yeah, for sure.
You see I'm on board game TikTok. So I just see board games being played by like couples or groups of friends on my TikTok constantly. So I'm always wanting to get more games. Mm-hmm. That actually happened when we were in the States recently, which we will talk about.
Yeah.
We got a new game called Tapple because we found it at Target.
It's a great like 2-person game. So yeah, sometimes when we're bored, we'll just pull that game out and it's hard to describe.
Yeah. Well, it's essentially like a big round
alphabet,
but it doesn't have all the letters.
Yeah,
it has most letters, and you have to it comes with cards, and it's like a category, let's say cars, and then you each have to go around and press a letter that corresponds to a car brand or whatever. But then it gets harder and harder as letters disappear from the Tapple circle. Mm-hmm. And it's just fun because you have a time limit and you go back and forth. And then, of course, under pressure, sometimes you can't think of obvious things.
Yeah,
so
very
it's just
true.
Easy, fun, and I probably can play it with more than two people.
Oh, yeah. It's designed. You can definitely play with more than two, but sometimes it's fun just the two of us. So, yeah.
I mean, we've only played with the two of us. So we mostly just play games, the two of us.
Yeah. So on this episode of the podcast, first of all, welcome back. We will be trying to go again weekly starting here in the new year. And today is going to be mostly sort of a recap of what's been going on in our lives before we get back to the hardcore aviation stuff.
Hardcore.
Well, I mean, it's an aviation podcast, so mostly aviation stuff. And of course, we'll try and get that started next week. We already have some ideas for shows coming up, and we hope you like it.
Yeah, and we will talk about aviation stuff too today. Just obviously we've been away for 4 months, I want to say. Wasn't intended, but essentially why were we away? So we really tried, but then it's just life just got in the way. And because we bid opposite schedules, it just kind of became
harder and harder.
Yeah. And just also because we had such limited time to record podcasts, we just started to feel like we were kind of rushing through episodes or kind of forcing ourselves to record, which wasn't what we wanted. We really wanted to obviously have the time to create good content. And of course, we enjoy the podcast. We didn't want to not enjoy doing this. So yeah, so I said, and kind of honestly, the past 4 months just flew by as well.
Yep.
So now we're in the next year, which is a little bit crazy, and a lot has happened. So we'll just kind of talk about that and then talk about the subject of today's aviation episode.
Excellent. So what are we going to start with, highs and lows? Are we going to do highs and lows of the last 4 months?
I mean, I know what your high is, but go ahead, Jeremy.
So almost 4 months ago to the day now, we sold both of our cars and got a new car. I'm not sure if we talked about it at all on the podcast, or maybe talked about the process that we were going through, but we got a Tesla.
Yeah, we got rid of both of our gas cars to get an electric, and because of our opposite schedules, we just figured we don't need two vehicles. Yeah. We can go to one vehicle and get essentially a more expensive vehicle, but a vehicle that Jeremy's just absolutely
my dream car,
in love
pretty much,
with.
Yeah.
And of course, I wasn't against it, of course, but it just had to make sense. And it did. And it's been since September that we've had Ella. That's her name.
Yep.
And we love her. And she's great. And she is a she. And Ella the Tesla. She has a song. I will not sing it for you. And yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. So one of the things we did, as we already knew we were getting the car, we had it on order. And one of the reasons why we did get it was we just sort of priced out to see if we could sell our cars and see how much we would get for them. And we got a really good deal. So we went ahead, sold those cars, and got the Tesla. And we had planned already a road trip. So we, wanted to test out like how the charging works, going on like longer trips. One of the main things that is deterring people from getting an electric car is they think, oh no, I'm not going to have the range to get to where I need to go. And that's not the case at all. In fact, the car, you can program in where you're going, and the car will even tell you where you have to go and charge and how long you have to charge for. So it was really, really simple doing the whole supercharging network, using that to charge the car. So we drove from Calgary all the way to Portland with several stops along the way. Had just a great road trip. We decided on a road trip as well because of this little one. Of course, we couldn't leave her at home for a couple of weeks, so we had friends coming and checking on the cats every day, and Roxy came with us on the road trip.
Yeah, and we had the exact same vacation, 2 weeks, September into October. And then, when we started discussing getting the car, it just made sense. At first, I suggested going all the way down to Napa, but then logistically, it really didn't make sense. It was too far, and we didn't want to be away for too long. We had 2 weeks off, but we really only wanted to be away for about a week.
Yeah. Just
for, cat purposes. And of course, the longer you're away, the more you spend. So, Portland, Oregon, just because there's two.
Portland, Maine,
there's two Portland. So of course, Portland, Oregon, which an absolutely beautiful area. The city, the surrounding area, all the wineries, highly recommend. If you're ever thinking, oh, should I go to Portland or not? Definitely. We loved it. Yeah. Was your first time there, right?
Well, I'd been by the airport, but like just short layovers. I'd never gone to the downtown Portland. Yeah.
Yeah. Such a beautiful spot. So I would definitely want to go back and explore more. But it was really, and as end of September, the weather was just nice. Everything was still green and lush and similar, I guess, to Vancouver kind of weather like temperature.
Yeah.
So everything is super, super green, super beautiful. And we had good weather. It wasn't really raining much. I think maybe one day was rainy, but
it was like overall it was really good.
Yeah.
Really good weather. We had a great trip, and using the car, we bought a little cooler for the car, so we had food in the cooler, and everything just worked out really, really well with our brand new car on the brand new road trip. So I think that's my high. What's your high for the last 4 months?
I mean, probably the same. The road trip was just a lot of fun. It's just a really nice, comfortable vehicle, and it's just a very smart vehicle, a smart car. but not a smart car.
It's an intelligent car.
Yeah. So literally, yeah, the charging was seamless, and having Sentry mode, so essentially cameras that document things that potentially are happening. So we felt really secure having the car. Dog mode to leave Roxy in the car when we went on like winery tours, if we couldn't leave Roxy in the Airbnb that we were staying at, which is, totally fine. She was totally fine. And we can check on her with cameras.
Yeah, it's really
looking
neat.
at her from our phones. So yeah, so it was very, very nice to have that kind of a big comfort blanket of sorts to have. And yeah.
And I foresee us, like, we've already started looking into getting a tent that can attach to the back of the car. Oh, and just for your information, we ended up getting the long range Model Y, which is, I don't know, it's an amazing car. It has a range of about...
probably put a picture of her here.
I'll probably throw a picture up. But it has a range of 500 kilometers, or, roughly around the 300, just over 300 mile range. So yeah, it's pretty much, it gets the same range as my previous gas car, and we charge at home. So we don't have to worry about going to the gas station. And I'd say our monthly charge to keep the car powered is about $40 to $50 a month, as opposed to the hundreds of dollars we were spending in gas before. So we're already getting some fuel savings there, some money savings there. I was going to say something else and I forget what it was. Oh yes. So we were looking at getting camping gear. So you can actually attach a tent to the back of the car and you can sleep in the car, and the car will keep the temperature of the whole inside of the tent whatever you'd like it at. So if it's a really hot sunny day, you can keep the air conditioning on and cool it down. If it's in the winter, you can even camp in the winter and keep it nice and heated. It's quite the amazing feature. So we're going to look into that. And of course, we'll document some of that if we choose to do camping mode next year. This year, sorry.
I know. Yeah, there's some really, there's a lot of brands or companies that make these Tesla tents. Some are better than others, as per the reviews that we've seen online. Of course, you pay for what you get, has been kind of what we've seen. But
with the reviews, we're doing our research before we commit, right?
Yeah, but we have the cooler. We actually got a couple hammocks from my mom and Ted for Christmas.
Thank you. They look amazing. I can't wait to try them.
Yeah, so we're kind of like set to kind of do those adventures in the summer, and of course we're close to the mountains and everything, so probably are going to be doing some of that. We haven't bought the tent yet, but we have some time. It's only January. We're not going to be able to camp for a few months. So I feel like that's a big high that was equally made you happy, and it was good for me. It was definitely a little sad to leave my previous car, because that was the first car I got when I moved to Calgary. But made sense. It just made sense. Going electric is the most logical thing moving forward into the future. And of course, being in a house, it makes sense for us to be able to charge at home. We're not paying supercharging every time we charge. We just park in our spot in the back, and we're able to charge normally. So yeah.
Perfect. So you had a few things lined up for this episode.
Well, we didn't do our lows yet.
I don't want to do lows.
Well, then.
Well, okay. Really quickly, lows are, unfortunately, well, for me, my low would be that our airline has modified a lot of what they're doing with their flying schedule here in Calgary. And I'm not doing the flying that I feel I could or should be doing if I was at any other base. That's all I'm going to say about that for now, because it's a touchy subject.
Yeah. And that would exactly my low as well. It's just, it's been a rough few months because of that. We're kind of adjusting, really questioning a lot of things, rearranging things, and debating on whether or not we're staying in Calgary. Honestly, that's been a conversation over and over. We're staying for now. We love Calgary. But,
we love the city.
It has to keep making sense. And if it doesn't make sense, then we will have to move, because eventually, you have to, put yourself first and figure out what works best.
Exactly.
So let me look at my little book here.
Perfect.
And of course, we've had a great holiday just this past month, of course. So we're kind of resetting our home. We took down the decorations a little early, kind of on the 29th or 30th.
Yeah, it was before New Year's, before I went to my on my pairing to London.
Yeah, so kind of refresh, kind of trying to declutter as much as possible. And then we were able to book a nice little vacation in September.
February.
In February,
which
coming up.
We'll tell you all about, and then of course we'll give you all the details of, we'll report back after vacation and give you all the fun stories from that.
Yeah. And then, let's move on to our subject of the episode. Roxy, she likes to bite the air.
She's a weirdo, just like us.
So we talk a lot about passengers and what they are doing on planes, and actually recently re-listened to our latest episode, which, sorry, it was back in August. But I talked a lot about just weird behavior from passengers, things that are surprising yet not surprising anymore just because of everything that's happening on planes these days. And so we wanted to make up a list and talk about things that you can do as a passenger to be a good passenger. So ways that you could be a good passenger when you travel on your next flight, and just things to keep in mind.
Yeah, I like it. This is, I haven't prepared anything for this. So far this is Adele, but I'm definitely...
That was your idea, though.
It was my idea, but I'll definitely chime in and add some thoughts, because I have been thinking about this. Yeah. How to be a good passenger. Yeah.
You want me to start then?
Yes, please.
Okay. I mean, the first most obvious, simple thing is be nice. That's it. That's simple as that.
How much does it cost to be nice?
Nothing.
It's so easy to be nice. It costs you nothing. Smile, be pleasant. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I'll put in a little caveat here. I mean, I understand people travel for so many different reasons. You're not always going on vacation when you're going on a plane. However, there's no need to take out your frustration, your sadness, your stress on your flight attendants. So if you're unable to say anything nice or do anything nice, maybe just be quiet. Just be that quiet passenger who is just kind of the silent, not wanting anything type, Don't come on board, start cursing at your flight attendants, or...
You don't know what kind of a day your flight attendants have had either.
Yeah.
So it could be the fourth leg of a long day. They've been working for 12 hours straight, and now you're just dumping on them because you're having a bad day. Not really fair either.
Yeah. And if there's anything that we could do, though, please let us know. But of course, just ask as nicely as you can, or be as kind as you can when you make a request, and we'll try our best to accommodate within our means.
I always say, the nicer a passenger is to me, the more I'll bend over backwards for them. If you're mean to me, you're getting what you're supposed to get, but I'm not bending over backwards for you in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Can I add one?
Of course.
Perfect. So number 2, follow the rules. It sounds simple, but follow the rules. When you're driving in a car and you're doing 60 miles an hour or 100 kilometers an hour on the highway, do you wear your seatbelt? Of course you do, because if something happens, you want to be safe. Same thing on an airplane. When the flight attendants say, fasten your seatbelts, fasten your seatbelt. It's not hard. You might think, oh, the seatbelt sign's off. Now it's time to take off. We recommend keep your seatbelt on. Just put it on loosely, because even at 35,000 feet, you can hit what's called clear air turbulence, and we don't want to see you hitting the ceiling of the plane all of a sudden without any warning. Not worth it. So little things, follow the rules, wear your seatbelt. Or one that I saw recently at the end of a flight, a duty-free bag that was open, and they left about that much of the bottle of Crown Royal at the bottom. Little story I heard recently, and again, we make an announcement. Hey, drinking your own alcohol is prohibited on board. Follow that simple rule, especially when we, on that flight, we were serving alcohol for free. Thanks for wasting your $26 that you just paid for the bottle of Crown Royal and drinking it yourself on a plane, breaking the rules. If you're caught, not a good thing. disruptive passenger reports get filled out, things like that. It's not worth it. So those are just two little examples of follow the rules. Very simple.
Yeah, makes sense. And you'd be surprised, drinking your own alcohol, smoking, vaping. I'm a broken record. I know I repeat myself a lot, but these are things that are still happening. So just don't do it. If you're on a 2-hour flight, just wait till you're at your destination to smoke. Yep. I feel like that is a doable thing,
Absolutely.
My next point was be prepared. So when you travel, try to be prepared. Know what you need as a person. Do you need medication? Do you need water a lot? Do you need a blanket because you're cold, or an extra scarf or something? Like, what do you need? Do you need entertainment? Like, do you read a lot? Do you watch a lot of stuff? Bring what you need, So yeah, some airlines have in-flight entertainment in front of you, like in the back of the seat, the habit.
Yep.
But doesn't work 100% of the time. Unfortunately, you might be unlucky and have a seat that doesn't work, or you might be traveling an airline that doesn't even have in-flight entertainment. So bring your own earphones, because you might be on an airline or a flight that requires you to pay for your earphones. And let me tell you, they're not the best quality. Whatever you have at home or what you can buy at the airport is definitely better quality. So just get that. Have your headphones, have your AirPods, have a book, have your Kindle, whatever it is. Have something to entertain you, whatever. And if you want to sleep, fine, you sleep the whole flight.
Yeah.
But be prepared, know what you need, because again, we could help you as much as we can, but we wouldn't be able to do that for every single passenger. And we might not be able to accommodate depending on what we have on board. And if you need lots of snacks or you need lots of food, bring an extra protein bar, bring a chocolate bar, bring a bag of chips.
Yeah.
You know yourself, know that if it's a 3-hour flight, you'll need a snack at some point, bring it.
Yeah.
Have it with you.
I like that. Yeah. Be prepared. And just while you were talking about like in-flight entertainment, you bring your own iPad, bring your laptop, whatever you have with you, if the IFE doesn't work, or if there is no IFE on that flight. And if you have services like Netflix, you can download shows or download movies and watch them throughout your flight. There is that option there. So I like that.
Mm-hmm. And I've also, for books, if you like reading, there's a lot of programs within airports that you can read the book and then return it to one of those same like airport stores, like a Relay or a Hudson within Canada. That's what we have a lot of times. And you return it for like a discount. So then you can get your next book at a discount, essentially. So you can think about that as well. That's a good thing.
And something you taught me actually is that a lot of libraries have digital programs as well, where you can basically rent an ebook from the library for free and then return it, like it gets returned once you're done reading, which is great.
Yeah, that's what I do on my Kobo.
Yeah.
So, you can buy your device and then never pay for a book ever again.
And have unlimited supply of reading. Yeah.
Yeah. So just, things
Be
like
prepared.
that.
I like
but
that.
within that same realm, bring what you need on board, but don't bring everything you own,
We've seen that too. Yeah.
So like, of course you can bring a carry-on, you can bring a backpack, bring what you need. However, there's such limited space inside the actual cabin that if you're the last to board, you might have to check your bag. Or if the 100 people in front of you brought 2 carry-ons, a backpack, a purse, and their giant puffer coat, there will not be space for all the bags. So try to be a courteous passenger and bring what you need. And if you can check a bag and it's within your means and within your timeline, do so.
Yeah.
Way easier. I am definitely one to not check bags all the time. So I'm one of those. However, I'll try to pack as light as possible. I'll put bags under my seat. I'll be as courteous as I can within that, because I've definitely seen passengers bring like 2 actual carry-ons for themselves, like roller bag carry-ons, like 2 backpacks, a giant purse, like their purse is the size of a backpack, giant jackets in the winter that they put in an overhead bin, just take a space of,
Yeah.
another bag. So it's just
And
too
that
much.
space is not unlimited by any means in the overhead bins. So be courteous. Yeah. Perfect. So my next one is going to be, if you have any special dietary needs or if you have dietary restrictions, you might want to consider packing your own food. And the reason for that is if you have certain needs, they might not have that available on the flight. It might be a short enough flight where they're only offering a small snack, or it might be a nice long flight where they offer a meal, but if you didn't pre-order a special meal, or if the special meal still doesn't meet your needs, always be prepared in that regard for your dietary needs. I had a passenger actually on my flight coming home yesterday who said no to all of the meals, said, could I just get cutlery? Because I brought my own food. And she said, I have so many allergies, it's just not worth it for me. So I bring my own food. I would just love cutlery. I was like, absolutely. And very, very pleasant passenger.
In business class?
Yep, in business class.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So that person paid a lot of money and decided
Yep.
not even to order a special meal, just brought their own food.
Yep.
That's thinking ahead as well. You know yourself. Like I personally on a plane, for example, I know I'm always cold. So I know I'll definitely bring like layers. I'll have like a sweater or I'll have something to like cover me. I'll never travel with like flip-flops or open-toed shoes because I'll know I'll get way too cold. And I need entertainment. So I need a book and I need my own shows because sometimes I just don't want to watch the movies that are on the IFE.
Yeah, that's fair.
They're not interesting to me. And
Or
that
you've seen them all. Yeah.
And that won't entertain me. If I don't want to watch a movie, I'll be bored watching the movie.
Yep.
So just a quick example and of course, I don't think we've mentioned it, but quickly, of course, bring your medication.
Oh my goodness.
Whatever
yes.
your medication is, bring it with you.
And keep it close by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you need Advil because you get headaches or your prescription medication for whatever you're dealing with, have it with you. And then another to kind of tie in with your following instructions is being alert. So, that's why we, don't want you to travel inebriated, high on drugs. We want you to be, of course, comfortable. If some people need, relaxing like gravel or things like that, understandable, but try not to get plastered or, take an edible during the flight, because if something happens, because guess what? If you're watching the news, something just happened in Japan last night. You will need to evacuate the aircraft. You will need to be alert and be aware of what's happening and follow instructions in an emergency. So just be aware of your surroundings. Yes, a flight can be comfortable. You're entertained. You're getting food, blah, blah. But just still be alert and be aware of what's happening. Things can still happen these days.
And you always say it's never going to happen to me until it does.
Yeah, it happened. And we can talk about the Japan Airlines thing next week because we haven't fully researched it. It literally just happened.
It happened last night. Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully, no one on the aircraft died, but the other aircraft that they collided with, 5 casualties, so 5 deaths so far. But the crew on the Japan Airlines flight were amazing. The passengers followed the instructions and everybody got out. That's the gist of it that we know so far. But essentially comes down to it. If you're flying, if you're traveling, if you're on an airline, be nice to your flight attendants.
Because they might have to save your butt one day.
So thank you for tuning in and goodbye, everyone.
Happy New Year. Goodbye. Say goodbye, Roxy.
Goodbye.
Good girl. Is she going to bite me? No, she's not biting me. All right. Thanks again for watching.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate and review wherever you listen to podcasts. We have new episodes every Wednesday. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Moderate Turbulence on Instagram, at Mod Turbulence on Twitter, and follow us individually on Instagram at HuffyJ and at La Delvie. Thank you.